Yeah, now that everything's working, guys, we live in a capitalist dystopia, and I'm gonna play Banjo-Kazooie while me and Brooke talk about living in a capitalist dystopia. That's where we're at right now. And I'm not saying that to be hyperbolic. I'm saying that because Elon Musk was literally buying votes in Wisconsin for a election that was being held for their judiciary. If that doesn't sound terrifying, it should. The idea that one man can have enough money to go and, oh, I'm just having a rally right now, and I'm just giving away money at the rally. That's the only thing I'm doing. By the way, I'm also basically a government employee at this point, and also, by the way, this election that is happening with this judiciary is very important for Trump's agenda. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, here's $1 million. Every ounce of that should be absolutely horse-fuckingly terrifying for all of you.
I mean, he did the same thing, though, like, during the actual election. He just didn't, like, it wasn't the vote for Trump kind of thing. He didn't say that, but it was like, if you show that you registered to vote, then you would be given, or you would be given, or you had a chance of being given. I can't remember.
One of the two. And you know what? Now that you mention that, I remember. So before stream, for those of you who remember my my older channel artist Yara Koro, me and them were talking about this earlier today, and Yara was like, "Yeah, but didn't Musk already do that before?" And I went, I'm unsure about that, because I didn't remember the specifics on what it was, and Yara couldn't remember what the specifics on the details were on their end either, so we just kind of shrugged and let that be the end of that part of the conversation. But
let's see, I'm going to see if I can find some information. You can keep talking, but I'm going to see if I can find that.
But now that you're mentioning it, I do remember that happening, because I remember those posts on Twitter, and I remember getting decently upset at it.
I believe it was around voter registration, but I'm checking.
It was like if you're a registered Republican or something.
Let's see.
Stygander says, and then he also said in court that the winners for the millions were pre-picked. Oh, was that his defense? Is like, well, it's not actually this because we pre-picked stuff, so it was all a giant lie, I guess? I don't know. Man, wasn't there a case where they should have looked at this? Yeah, Wisconsin Appeals Court is not going to actually stop Musk's $1 million payments to voters after the Attorney General sues. What? Why? Why not? Like, it feels like an easy slam dunk of a case. Why not hear it? Reading on here,
I decided to go look at it, and Elon Musk did a $1 million voter giveaway in Pennsylvania during the election. And it was just that someone had to be registered and a verified voter. And apparently a Pennsylvania judge actually allowed it.
Huh. Yay. Fantastic. My favorite. It's the best. I'd rather...
Yeah, that's rough.
I am upset. Also, I saw that, hold on. Progress only added Mikey Famine. Is Mikey in the chat right now? I don't see him right now. Oh, okay, here we go. So Dorito just posted the NBC News article as well. Pennsylvania Governor Shapiro, take a look, Elon Musk voter pay. Okay, so yeah, this is not the first time. This is not the first time that he has done this shit. This is fantastic. I love living in this country.
Something he keeps getting away with.
We can't keep letting him get away with this.
Exactly.
So, looking at this here, so Madison, Wisconsin, a Wisconsin appellate denied the state Democratic Attorney General's request to stop billionaire Elon Musk from handing over $1 million checks to two voters at a rally planned for Sunday, just 2 days before a closely contested Supreme Court election. The denial Saturday by the Wisconsin Court of Appeals is the latest twist in Musk's deep involvement in the race, where he set a record for spending in a judicial election. and has become a litmus test for the opening months of Donald Trump's presidency. Trump and Musk are backing Waukesha County Judge Brad Schimmel in the race, while Democrats are behind Dane County Judge Susan Crawford. So first things first, before we go any further in this conversation, this is and should be all the evidence that you need to go to either your local DSA or get involved by going on to Mobilize and going to your local Democratic chapter and going, hey, maybe I should be trying to help fight against shit like this, because this is going to keep happening. This is 100% going to keep happening, because if Musk can keep getting away with it, then he's going to keep doing this, because he has no reason not to keep doing this. So there's that bit out of the way. Second thing, looking at this, that is terrifying. Also, didn't Musk end up getting on stage and having a whole thing where he talked about George Soros and the fact that he had like some hecklers in the audience? He went, yeah, it makes sense that George Soros would have paid some people to be here today. Like, my guy, you're literally giving millions of dollars to people to go vote the way you want them to. This is just the literally pot calling the kettle black.
That's what I was gonna say. And like, also, it's completely unrelated and weird, but like, was he wearing a cheese hat? Like, I feel like every picture that I saw of this thing, he was wearing a cheese hat. And I don't know if that was a related picture or whatever, but it was like, what are you wearing?
Let's see. Elon Musk Soros. I'm scared of what I'm gonna find in Google Images. Yeah, he's just wearing a cheese hat. Why is he wearing a cheese hat? Yeah, his
That's
actual
a Wisconsin
quote.
thing.
His actual quote, Wisconsin cheddar, that makes sense. His actual quote was, it was inevitable that at least a few Soros operatives would be in the audience. Give my regards to George, Musk said in a response to the hecklers.
Okay, but like, so if Elon Musk is able to pay people to vote and stuff, and he thinks that George Soros is going to do this stuff, why wouldn't Soros just pay people to vote, like, in favor of the things he wants?
That's the conspiracy
and I'm not saying,
theory.
Well, no, that's the thing, though. Like, he's saying that Soros is paying people to heckle him, but apparently he's not, business class smart, quote unquote, smart enough or whatever to just go the next step and pay people to, like, just do the voting. Which I'm not, by the way, I'm not saying that George Soros should do that. Nobody should be paying anybody to do any votes.
But also,
I'm just saying, like, in the context of this.
In terms of money dollars, Musk has more money dollars than damn near anybody else on the planet. So, like, even if we lived in a world where Soros was this, leftist benefactor that gave the money to all of the right causes all of the time, every single minute of every day, he could not outspend Musk.
Yeah.
And that's terrifying that he still could not outspend Musk in this regard. And that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing at all.
Actually, is Musk still the richest, I'll say the richest known person in the world?
I don't know, because I don't tend to keep track. That's why I said, like, damn near one of, but maybe he still is. I don't know. I don't care enough about his financial status, but somebody in the chat might be able to take a quick look and see, because, man, his Tesla stocks dropping should definitely be a thing that continues happening,
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking, is because his Tesla stocks are like 50% down since December. Like, they haven't gone up since December. So that's something. I don't know if that means that he would be like any lower on that list, because he was pretty far ahead there. But yeah, in any case, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how rich you are. You shouldn't be able to get away with pulling on the reins of our democracy and making it where that it no longer functions in that way. He is no longer the richest. I just Googled it.
That's so cool. We should probably make sure that he continues not being the richest. Also, it's super funny how angry he gets at people basically vandalizing Teslas and vandalizing the Tesla factories. He gets really angry at that, but my guy, when are you going to understand that this is your fault? You're the one that did it. Also, Snake of Eden, LOL. Thank you very much for subscribing. If that's Laugh Out Loud, that's cool. If that's League of Legends, I'm so sorry for you. But it's hilarious to me because it's either he refuses to acknowledge that all of this is in fact his fault, or he acknowledges it and doesn't care and then whines about it.
Well, it's literally what he did with the Twitter stock, because it's like when the advertisers pulled out, he's just like, and what they're gonna do is they're gonna kill the company. And then like the interviewer was like waiting for him to finish. And it's like that's just what's gonna happen. They're just killing the company, and the world will know. And it's just like, dude, like no.
Oh, when he's crying over everything.
And
it's just like shit on Musk hour. Let's do this.
Like, no, dude, it's because you said, like, really weird stuff about people, or you did something that, like, is undermining democracy. Like, people don't just pull out of businesses that are making money for no reason.
No, they do it because they recognize when a ship is sailing or sinking. And I think we're in the world where we can understand that Twitter has sailed, X is sinking, and you know, I'm just saying, I'm not sponsored by Blue Sky at all, but my god, it's been a more enjoyable experience in general. It's so weird.
Yeah. I think that this is one of those things where that, like, I'm so glad that there is a little bit more pushback this time, because when there was the stuff that happened during the election, obviously there was pushback and people talked about it and stuff, but like I think people were more preoccupied with trying to mobilize people to vote for Kamala Harris and everything, which is good, you know.
The Joy campaign.
Yeah, like that was good that people were trying to mobilize everyone to vote and everything, but like there wasn't as much focus on the bullshit that Elon Musk was doing by doing that. Obviously, people did talk about it, but I just like
there has definitely...
I think because there's been more focus on it, it's actually getting called out, and doesn't seem like he'll actually be able to do that like he did with Pennsylvania.
Yeah, there's definitely been more of it now. I know that Nikema Williams' town hall that happened, I say near me, but it wasn't really, but it was in Atlanta. When I went to the town hall, the actual name of the town hall was Musk or Us. Like, it was literally billed as an anti-Musk event, when the reality is it was just a town hall for a Democratic representative. Like, that's all it really was, but it made sense to bill it that way still.
Yeah, definitely. This is what, like, I've kind of been saying a good deal lately, and I guess it's like my cope throughout this is that even though things are bad and stuff, one thing to remember is they are very unpopular. And even though, like, the thing is they're not just unpopular, they're just, like, a lot of this stuff is downright illegal. Like, outright. And, you know, you're getting judges that are ruling things as illegal, and then they just go and do it anyway. And I have to hope that at some point that comes back and will end up biting them. I can't know that for sure.
Yeah, there's no way to 100% any of that. But we can definitely hope, and most importantly, we can definitely make certain that a lot of the stuff is known. So, like, I know that I can make fun of Twitter and Facebook slacktivism, where you just kind of post angrily about something and then go, I did a good job. I did a democracy today. But the reality of the situation is, if you're having that conversation with, like, friends or family, and going, hey, do you think it's okay for one person to bankroll an election? If yes, why do you think it's okay for people who have that much money to have that much power? If no, how do you feel about the thing Musk has done? Like, you can have those conversations with people around you because unlike the vacuum of the internet, you have a higher chance of getting the people around you to kind of come to where you are in regards to these things.
Yeah. It's funny. Like, I don't use Facebook or whatever. And
that's because you're not a boomer.
But I do have one for keeping up with like what people in like I guess I don't know what else to call it other than like my old life are up to or whatever.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I've seen people who were the most diehard Trump fans or whatever, and that's what I'm going to call them, just Trump fans, being upset about the things that have been happening lately. And it's been weird because they've been very much like, I don't know how else to put it other than like they've been giving Trump and Musk the benefit of the doubt, but like coming at it with this understanding like, hey, I know you don't mean to do this, but you're doing it.
So,
and it's just been kind of weird seeing people who are like so diehard pushing back even a little bit.
In that vein, I had a conversation with a friend who, this person is more on the libertarian bent of things, and they worded a question to me in a way that, like, it was very, very loaded in hindsight, and I should have seen it that way, but it was, is it wrong for somebody to make the world a better place just because they want to stroke their own ego? And, like, in hindsight, he's just talking about Elon Musk. There's no fucking way that wasn't talking about Elon Musk. But
yeah, what is the quote? It's like Elon Musk wants to save the world, but only if he can do it. Like, that's the thing that yeah.
And the answer to that, like, the pragmatic answer is it doesn't matter what the actual motivations are if the world becomes a better place and the end result, right? Like, that's the pragmatic answer. The answer, though, that comports a little more with reality that I should have said then, and I'll probably have a follow-up conversation with this person and give the kind of fixed answer, is if the end result is the world becoming a better place, then sure, but the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and if you set out to make the world a better place, but only ever in your own image, are you really going to make the world a better place, or is the end result going to be something a little different? Is the end result going to be something spiteful? Like, oh, I don't know. Maybe you'll say that a family member of yours who you pretended to love very dearly once upon a time, you'll say that this person died to the woke mind virus or something like that, and maybe this will fuel a entire multi-year campaign of doing things that are directly not beneficial to people like this family member who died to the woke mind virus. And, maybe you'll end up engaging in a lot of spiteful activities that will end up harming people, but you think you're trying to make the world a better place, but the spite never really leaves. Now, for those who may not be able to see through very thinly veiled subtext, I'm definitely talking about Vivian. I'm talking about Elon Musk's daughter, Vivian. It's not only did he lose a son to the transness because now he's got +1 daughter, but apparently he also lost Grimes to a trans woman too. So, like, there's a level of spite there I'm just assuming is going on. Yeah. And Leela Uraka, I didn't miss the redeem. I just tend to be a little more selective with redeems when I have guests on.
Feel free to do that, but like. Yeah,
God
yeah.
Damn it!
If you got the ara to do, you can do the ara.
Both Mikey Famine and Leela, thank you for redeeming your points for both of you fucking monsters, each and every one of you. Also, progress only. Thank you so much for the raid. Sephi said, also, I had a
Heck yeah.
question. So, Sephi, I'm gonna ask what the question is, but if history dictates how things usually go, is the question also going to be wildly unrelated to anything that has been talked about in the last 30 minutes? But feel free to ask the question. I'm just hedging my bets.
Yeah. Also, I want to make clear, I don't agree with the quote that Elon Musk wants to save the world. It only if he can do it. I don't agree with that at all. Mainly because, like, I mean, there's clear signs of that obviously not being the case.
Yeah.
Do you remember, and like, again, it's another thing that sort of eventually floated under and people just don't talk about it. But like, I think it was the year before last year, but Elon Musk was like, if someone can show me the numbers on how this much money could like feed everybody, then I would give it to them.
Yes, and then the numbers were given to him.
And then he just deleted the tweet.
It was also when he, wasn't there also another incident where he said, like, if anybody can show proof of the only reason I have wealth is the emerald mine, then I'll give them a financial reward. And his dad piped up and was like, yeah, I got some proof.
Yeah, like, he's not interested in saving the world at all. He's interested in posturing as a savior and making money and using that posturing as a way of acquiring power and making money.
I think he's wildly interested in the idea of Elon Musk saves the world. And as long as he can convince you that whatever dumb shit he's doing is saving the world, then he'll do it. So like, and this is me 100% agreeing with what you're saying, but like as a few examples of that, what would you say if you're a libertarian who Elon Musk definitely pushes a lot of his beliefs to, and Elon Musk told you, I'm cutting a whole bunch of fat out of the federal government. I'm cutting a bunch of spending that doesn't need to be happening. Like, you'd fucking celebrate that shit, right? Like, you'd be so excited. You go, yeah, government doesn't need to be doing that. I hate taxes. And then your grandma calls you on the phone crying because her medication is now $1,000. And she can't afford it because her Medicare just got shut off. What do you do when you're that person? And like, you can't connect the dots that Elon Musk is directly responsible for your suffering grandma. Do you just sit there and say, yeah, shut up, grandma, you didn't deserve that anyway, ignoring the, like, 60 years of her life she worked paying taxes? Like, what do you do when you're that person? Like, there's a level of delusion, and this is, again, another friend who's libertarianly minded. I need to have a conversation where taxes are concerned with this person and go, I have a question. How did you get here? Like, to the card shop where we play Magic the Gathering? Oh, cool. So you drove on a road. Do you know how that happened? Just out of curiosity. I'm just spitballing here. Any idea how the road got there?
From my experience with speaking to people with this mindset, a lot of times they'll start bringing up, the privately owned roads and stuff. But, like, the reality is, America is kind of too big to have
America's not built on privately owned roads.
Yeah, like, well, the thing is, America is too large to run on privately owned roads in general. Like, at least with the way that they function.
See, I'm not super familiar with which privately funded roads there are and how they function, so if you could illuminate that for me.
Yeah, there are just, I mean, I don't know what the names of them are, but there are, sometimes in certain states you can drive through and you'll end up on a road that is owned not by the state, but instead by a company or whatever. I guess technically it could be an individual, but I don't think there are any individual owned roads. And I guess a lot of times they'll work the same way as like that Easy Pass stuff where that you'll end up paying later. But yeah, like they just charge you to use the road essentially. And like, it's annoying, but like in essence, it's pretty similar to how, you end up paying for roads already with taxes.
But can you imagine every road that you drive on a commute to work? Like, so just as an example, I live in the Atlanta area, and a lot of people have a commute of about 35 miles because, a lot of areas are suburban and we don't have a ton of job opportunities, but Atlanta itself has a lot of job opportunities, so you get that commute that's really long. So, you get one, tiny robber baron owns of 2 or 3 mile stretch of road, and then the next tiny little robber baron has another 2 to 5 mile stretch of road. How does your commute to work feel when multiple roads are all individually funded and you're having to pay a fee on each individual fucking road?
Yeah, and the thing is that, like, when something is owned by the government or whatever, there's like a set understanding of the cost of it, and they're basically charging you or at least in theory, they're charging you for the cost of keeping it maintained and usable. But when it's going to be owned by individuals / companies, if every road is owned by individuals and companies, then they can just make it more expensive. And they will make it more expensive. Because in theory, again, the government's not supposed to be interested in making money. They're interested in providing services that allow, citizens to be able to function well in the country and, live fulfilling lives and protect your rights and whatnot. But a company doesn't care about any of those things. Yeah, they're just interested in making money.
Yeah, their bottom line is the green dollar. And, the only argument I've ever heard in favor of the good old green dollar is, well, that company isn't going to discriminate against anybody then because they only care about the money. But we've seen companies discriminate against people because it's popular for them to, and that makes them money because they get press. So, that's not true.
Yeah, if you have a group of people that people just, a lot of people don't like for some reason, companies usually won't touch that group of people. And that sucks. That's really awful. But, that's just how companies are. They're going for a bottom line. They're trying to make their highs higher with... Yeah. Anyway, you get my point.
Yeah.
I forgot why we were talking about that, but still.
It was the conversations with libertarians who are very, very enthusiastic about the things that Elon Musk is doing, irrespective of, the legality of them, because, Call, Attorney General, argued that Musk's promised payments violated state law because it's a felony to give voters anything of value in exchange for them voting. This is one of the reasons why there's been controversies about handing things like bottles of water to voters in a voting line, because it is something of value. Thank you, Nestle Corporation. This is all your fucking fault. But it's...
Yeah, that's something I think is so crazy. Water is just a human right, but okay.
Yeah, not according to Nestle. And you know what? I know that Nestle went back on that, but they only went back because of public backlash, and that public backlash should never stop. Once your CEO says water's not a human right, then all right, that's so funny, that's so weird and quirky. 70% of the human body is made up of water. Make of this what you will.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you can look at the things that Elon Musk is doing right now and think this is benefiting anybody other than him and, I guess, his, millionaire buddies. Although, the thing is, and I was joking about this while you were gone, the funny thing is that, it's just not benefiting Elon.
It's making things actively worse for him right now.
Yeah, it's he keeps thinking that it's going to get better, but every step he makes is just another mistake.
There is a bit of a scary end result of some of this, though, that I have seen talked about. You're aware of techno-feudalism and what that is, right? Okay, so for the members of my audience who may not know, techno-feudalism is effectively, well, it's just feudalism, but it's the crypto millionaires having the land instead of kings and actual barons. So, there is a contingent of techno-millionaires who are of the opinion that America should not exist as America. America should instead exist as millions of plots of disparate land that can all be carved up by various crypto bros so that they can buy them and set up their own little rules and their own little utopias. We've seen them try to do shit like this via the blockchain, and that's obviously not worked very well because, I mean, the blockchain as a representation of a parcel of land was always a fucking stupid idea, but they tried it anyway. Folding Ideas has a wonderful video on this if you want any more information on how that particular endeavor went for people. But anyway, with Elon, you can't get rid of the United States unless you get rid of the United States government. And you can easily get rid of the United States government if you, I don't know, get rid of every program that it ever does or supports or, that exists. It's easy to stop a organization from functioning when you've cut out every single thing it uses to function, and the only thing it has left is a military. I mean, at that point, I think you've just created North Korea too, but that's just my personal opinion. Anyway,
you were about to say Electric Boogaloo, but
I was close to it. I almost did, but so. Yes, the things Elon Musk is doing are wildly unpopular for him in the short term, but I think in his mind, outside of like the petty ego stuff, I think there is an argument to be had that he's under the assumption that he'll have enough money to weather the storm, and if he can get America to stop existing as it is, then you get that lovely little libertarian utopia where you have your individual barons making all of their individual little night cities around the United States. And once they've got that carved out for themselves, it doesn't matter how unpopular they are, they're the ones in control. Like, you can be unpopular when democracy stopped existing, because now popularity is no longer a measurement of anything. But it's a little conspiracy-brained, but we also have evidence of, like, a lot of techno-millionaires saying that this is the environment that they want. And if you look at Elon Musk's actions, a lot of them do look like they would create that kind of environment eventually.
Yeah. By the way, I want to read this.
Sure.
I think Trump and Musk are actively trying to drive a recession and then blame it on the past presidency and then the next one in order to gain control again, which I guess that would be saying, hey, like, things are bad and it's bad because of Biden's economy. And then when the next presidency comes around, like, everything just gets worse and worse and worse. And so people inevitably will end up voting for the Democrats and whatnot, and it will just be so bad when that happens. Like, not because the Democrats are doing worse or whatever, but just because it's already to such a level.
If the only thing you can do is plug the holes on the sinking ship, but you're also the one in charge when the sink is shipping, or when the sink is shipping, when the
sink is shipping.
When the ship is sinking, it doesn't matter that the only thing you can do is plug up the holes. You'll be blamed for the holes existing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I guess the thing is, like, with the heavy unpopularity thing, it's kind of like a race right now in my mind, where it's like they're heavily unpopular and stuff, and so I think that's why they're doing things so fast, because if they act slowly and they're very unpopular, if they act slowly, then courts make their rulings, they're charged with breaking the law, blah blah blah, a bunch of bad things happen, they're not able to get done with as much, and they can't overcome the unpopularity of the things that they are trying to do. But if they do it fast enough, they can overturn enough things, then there's this idea that they'll be able to overcome democracy itself. And, like, at least that's, like, the impression that I get, because otherwise I don't see a reason why you would be behaving so quickly, other than, I guess, like,
Like get
overwhelming people,
get
but
as much shit done as humanly possible in a small sect of time before people can react.
yeah, like if you just keep on doing things in order to give Trump or the president, whoever that will end up being in the future, power that they don't deserve to have, like we haven't elected them to hold this power or whatever, and then you do that while you're still ranking up in unpopularity, it's kind of a race against the clock, I guess,
I mean,
because
you're familiar with Steve Bannon, right?
mm-hmm.
This, like, that is his strategy. That's the strategy that he wanted the Trump admin to do the first time around, and he's been celebrating them doing now. Because it, like, you mentioned that part of it can be overwhelming the opposition. If memory serves, and like, either you or anybody who has a better memory than me could correct me in the chat, but the two reasons that Steve Bannon wanted these things to happen is, one, it does overwhelm your opposition, and on top of it overwhelming your opposition, making it hard to like report on all the shit you're doing, it has the exact effect that you were mentioning, Brooke, where you're getting enough done, so even if your popularity is going down, your popularity stops being a metric that matters after a certain point.
Yeah, it's basically like they just keep filling this, it's a weird thing to say, I guess, but like they keep on filling up their abilities to do things, like they keep on expanding that, and yeah, it might be unpopular, but because it sets a precedent and they've allowed themselves to do these things, it means that it kind of just doesn't matter if they're popular at a certain point, because even if they're super duper unpopular, well, they still have the power to do things. They don't have to run it through elections. They don't have to go through courts anymore.
Yeah, you don't have to be popular when you have all the power. You have to be popular when democracy exists.
So, yeah, I guess that's like, it goes back to what we were talking about before, which is like, you have to really make it clear that this is not something that you want, and like push the things that are in place to actually push back against Trump and Elon before the race ends up being that they have all of the power, and even if their approval ratings are at 0, but if they have all the power, it doesn't really matter.
Also,
so yeah,
real quick thing, Sephi had a question in the chat, but it was unrelated to the conversation. That's why I haven't taken a look at it fully. But it was something about the DDoS attacks that were happening with Blizzard. Let me ask the question one more time, because like, if it's just do I have an opinion on them, the answer is no. I don't. I don't have an opinion on Blizzard getting DDoSed. Like, I like playing World of Warcraft, but past that, that's about it.
it's kind of hard to have an opinion on that right now, because like there's a lot of other things.
There's other shit that I'm really worried about that will not stop happening. Like Blizzard getting DDoSed, if that is a thing that's happening. People don't like Blizzard for very, very good reasons. I don't know. Like I don't know what the question is supposed to be there, but
yeah. With that, I will probably go in like a few minutes, because
sure.
I need to head to bed.
Yeah, you've been working off of like tiny itty bitty amounts of sleep.
Yeah. But I appreciate you having me on and allowing me to talk about this stuff.
Sure.
This is very, very much not what I'm used to doing on stream. And it was actually really interesting to get to talk about it.
Well, I definitely appreciate having you on. Like you have a lot of expertise where these things are concerned, even if you may not feel like it, because this is stuff that directly affects you, and you're good at researching it, so I like hearing your opinions on it.
I appreciate that. And I really enjoyed being on. I hope that everybody has fun or I guess enjoys to whatever level you can the rest of stream.
Yeah, one the other or both. We're doing our best to exist.
Yeah. And yeah, I hope everyone has a good day/night.
Gotcha. And for all of you, if you have not already checked out Brick's channel, please go do so. You can just click the @Brook2Valley in the Twitch chat. Also, when this goes up on YouTube, there should be a link to both her Blue Sky and also her Twitch. Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
Night, y'all. Bye.
Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I really could not do any of this without all of you. Those of you watching, and especially those of you who support me on Patreon. I wanted to go ahead and take a minute to thank all of you who do that, because with YouTube being what it is these days, I really cannot do this full time without the support from each and every one of you. Those people would be Red Joker, Purple Poundini, Jemshin, Britzkrieg, Jupe the Malignant, Michael, Ravalern, Mabbity Babbity, Astral Frontier, Tales of Atonement, Nixie Chan, Kiri Artemis, Victorian Alchemist, I'm not saying the last part of that, and you know that, Lil Ururaka, Arcton Arclacier, Kiratorian, Dren Hadamata, Jordan M, John L, Lord Bleck, Smiling Game Master, and Fireshard. Thank you so very much. But since you're here, why not go ahead and try watching another one? There should be one that's on the screen right now. And if you are a patron of mine, I wanted to go ahead and thank you again for all of your support. There is still a video you could press though, if you'd like. I would appreciate it just a little bit.